what's up? It's your girl Soph B, and as you can see, I'm looking a lot different than I did in my previous video, and that is because I have decided to finally give up Microlocs for good. So let me start at the beginning. I started my locks in 2012. I went to Brooklyn, New York to my aunt's salon. We decided that we wanted to do organic parting, and she helped me start my lock journey. So shout out to my aunt Girly, love you so much. I went to one salon visit, I think about a month after that. And literally a few hours after after I left the salon, it's like I never even went to the salon. So that was actually my last salon visit back in 2012, 13 years ago. And since then, I have been maintaining my locks by myself. And it has been a wonderful journey. So prior to getting locks, I would live vicariously through other people who had locks. I was just so afraid to get them myself because they felt so permanent. I felt like I came from upbringing or community where locks were kind of seen as rebellious or taboo. And so I waited for a long while to get locks. I waited for maybe like 5 years before, like after I initially wanted to get them. And so there was a friend of mine had locks and I loved her locks. And when she cut her locks off, I kind of just felt like, but I was living through your experience. So I needed to get my own locks to feel satisfied, but I wasn't quite sure how people would perceive it. What really helped me cultivate locks was I moved to the DMV, Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And anybody who grew up there or lives there knows that people really embrace their natural hair. Locks is a big thing in that area, and maybe just the time that I went out there, locks were kind of taking off and becoming popular everywhere. And so just, having my starter locks and being complimented, by a lot of people, men and women across different cultures, kind of gave me the motivation to continue with my locks. But of course, when you're making certain changes, not everybody is going to agree with those changes. And I remember I had a few best friends who were like, they would make side comments like, oh, Sophia, I love your hair when it's straight. I love the way you used to wear your hair. And I'm like, well, this is the direction I'm going in now. So I remember the exact moment that I knew that I wanted locks, and locks were magical, and I just had to have them. I was at a farmer's market in Philly with one of those same friends that told me they missed my hair straight. And I saw these young women who just had these beautiful, thick locks. And I was like, oh my gosh, her hair is stunning. I love it. And my friend was like, ew, no, that's not cute. But I'm like, I love it. And of course, my friend, she wasn't black, so she could not really identify with why I felt that locks were just so culturally beautiful, and I just had to have them. And it was maybe like a year after that moment in 2011 that I went to my aunt's salon and decided it was time. But prior to doing that, I messed around with yarn locks as well as faux locks just to get a look and a feel of it. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do this. This looks good. And since that moment, I have never looked back. I have never had box braids since then. I have worn exclusively locks since then. I've tried a couple wigs here and there since then, tried to put over my locks, and it was just, no, too hot, too much hair. But I just love locks. I really, really do believe that locks is one of my love languages. Another reason why I wanted to get locks was whenever I would pray about my future, God give me direction, what's going to happen, da da da. And I would dream about me having children, publishing my book, all the things that I have done. I had locks in those dreams. And so that was just so telling that, okay, the universe, God has spoken. I have locks in the future. So let me just get it done. And so I did. Whenever you have the desire to do something that you really want to do and you feel you're called to do, there's always going to be haters or naysayers telling you they don't agree or putting their fears on you and their misconceptions on you. Do your own research, follow your gut, talk to God. He'll help you to make the decision. And I know it's just hair, so they say, but your crown is your hair. Your crown is your beauty. It is your glory. your hair is an extension of you. So while it is just hair, it also is more than that. It also is important. And one of the things about me beginning my lock journey is it also led me to live a holistic lifestyle. I remember when my aunt was styling my locks, she was just so excited. Oh, I'm so excited you're going in this direction. At that point, I had been natural for 2 years and I kind of was just tired of, trying various natural hairstyles. And a lot of times they don't come out the way you want them to. And I wanted locks because when you wake up, your hair is literally done. Having locks cut down my morning routine tremendously. Like, I used to always be cutting it close to running late for work. And once I had locks, that pretty much eliminated that problem. I only had to worry about getting dressed and putting on makeup. And so my aunt, while she was doing my hair, she was like, oh, locks is a very spiritual thing. Your next step is so beautiful is stop wearing makeup. And it's so funny because I'm like, I'm never going to give makeup up. And it's so funny because I eventually did. So fast forward to 5 years after that moment. Was it 5 years? No, more than that. So that's 2019. Fast forward 7 years. And I finally gave up makeup because I had my son and I was tired of getting my foundation on his bibs and his clothes. I said, okay, I don't need this. And also, like, when you go through pregnancy, your skin is just, it's so beautiful that you feel like you don't even need to wear makeup. And so around the time I had my first son, I stopped wearing makeup. And then from there, having my son, I went on the next journey, which was, monitoring how I eat, how do I feel my body, exercise. So locks really catapulted me into my holistic journey of, not only just going natural with my hair, but with the things that I ate, the things that I put on my body, just being more conscious of that. And for that, I am just so grateful. It's just a journey of self-love is what locks have been for me. So when I got married, my locks were long down in my butt, just beautiful, just like how I imagined it. Not all the way, because I got married during the pandemic. I would have loved to have a big elaborate wedding. We had something very small and intimate. How my hair was, that was spot on and how I envisioned it. And I did my own hair for my wedding, did my own makeup. And so it was just a beautiful experience. And so when I had my son, shortly after having him, 3 months after, I experienced postpartum hair loss. And that was intense for me just because I had put so much time and effort into my locks and I had did so many things during my pregnancy to kind of prevent that. But genetics is genetics and you can't do anything about that. So I would apply castor oil while I was pregnant on my hair. I would take supplements, and nevertheless, I lost 2 locks in the front part of my hair. And when I had my second son, I lost 4 locks in the front of my hair due to postpartum shedding. So that was around the time that I was kind of like, well, I've been doing this lock thing for 12 years. I want to experience something different. I think I'm ready to, try something else. So fast forward to 2023, I decided that I wanted to cut off my locks and try Microlocs. And that's what I did. And the big chop was lovely. I racked that for a couple of months before I did my Microlocs. And I'm the type of person that I love really, really long hair, or I like really, really short hair. And I don't really like anything in between. Like, I'll wear it in between, but I really just love having, long, beautiful locks, or being completely bald. I don't know what that is about. Maybe someone out there can relate. So when I first cut my hair off, I was just in love. I put some hair color paint in it. I made it pink. And then once it started to grow out, I was kind of over it, but I knew at the same time I didn't want to cut it again because I wanted to grow back my hair. And this time I did go through a point where I did comb out my locks and I made them smaller. But this time I didn't want to comb them out. I just didn't feel like going through that long, tedious process. The first time I combed out my locks, my mom helped me and we were able to knock it out in a week. And I knew that shortly after having a little baby, I wasn't going to have time for that. So I cut it all off and it was gorgeous. I loved it. But as it started to grow out, I was like, I'm not trying to deal with my loose natural hair right now. So let me do the microlocs. And so I did microlock extensions for a while. And it looked amazing. I got a lot of compliments about it. But then I started to develop carpal tunnel because I had just had a baby. When you're breastfeeding and holding your baby in that position, and then also the constant repetitive motions of interlocking with microlocks, all of those things combined can cause carpal tunnel. So during that time, I, muscled through, but then I was having carpal tunnel issues, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I was doing a lot of stuff with my kids, as well as, eventually I started working again as an editor, so I'm doing a lot of typing, and it was just too much on my hands. So I took the micro locks out, and I did like mermaid locks or thick locks for a while, and I don't know, something happened after I had my second son. The texture of my hair was much softer. My scalp was more delicate. Like, my body went through so many changes. I feel like when you go through pregnancy, you don't really fully understand what changes your body is going to go through until after the fact. Now, I didn't go through some crazy changes like some women do. Thank God I've never experienced like my skin getting darker, my nose swelling up. I never experienced that. Thank the Lord. My boys made me look cute, and I just had a big belly for the most part. Didn't even really have a lot of stretch marks. But when it came to the carpal tunnel and my blood pressure, those two things were triggered, and the hair loss was triggered by pregnancy. But I feel like those things are, the blood pressure thing was serious. But when it comes to like hair loss, I mean, that's cosmetic. It will grow back. So I never experienced anything like super crazy with pregnancy like some women do. Thank the Lord. I experienced the carpal tunnel, and that pretty much was the gist of it. I was able to get my blood pressure, back where it needed to be once I lost the weight after pregnancy and, was monitoring what I ate. So the carpal tunnel, they showed me how to do different exercises. I went to see a neurologist about it just to make sure I didn't have any nerve damage. And eventually it went away. So I was like, okay, let me put these micro locks back in. But after opening my Etsy shop and making those locks and kind of pushing myself to make them, the repetitive motion of doing that, along with texting and making videos on my phone, reactivated my carpal tunnel injury to the point where it's getting better now because I've taken a break from certain things that were triggering it, but I'm going to be seeing a physical therapist. I do a lot with my hands. I'm a maker, I'm a creator, so I have to, take good care of my hands. And so that has led me to return to my roots of traditional locks. I did them thicker this time. So I went from having 250 or so micro locks to having 100 and I believe like 20 something locks this time around. When I started my locks many years ago, the method that I used, they didn't look as fluffy as this. And so I really love this, how it looks. I did add the color to my hair using actual hair. So it's been 2 years since I used any bleach or dye on my hair. And that is something that has been very important to me because just like perms are harmful, hair colors and bleaches are harmful. So now if I want to add color to my hair, I do buy the bulk hair. I make my own extensions and I'll put it in, for temporary use, just so that I can have that pop of color without putting chemicals on my scalp or my skin. And so I added this color, and if you want to see more about that, you can follow my TikTok at I am Soph B, and you can see it there. So here we are now, back to traditional locks after experimenting for the last 2 years, but overall the arching theme has been for the past 13 years locks. And so now I'm thinking I might try doing a little semi freeform because I love when locks are full and fluffy and not too heavy. I feel like when you over manipulate your locks, doing interlocking, palm rolling too much, you actually compact the hair in your locks and you make it denser. When you add a lot of products, you weigh down your hair. I notice that people who do freeform locks, their hair is so light and fluffy. Like it could be long and thick, but because they don't really manipulate it, it's like a little cloud on their head. And that's kind of what I'm going for now. So this is the look. Get into it. Look at the sun on it. It's just, I love it. I really do love it. I hope I don't get tired of it because I'm one of those girls that I'm in my lock bag. I have a tendency to want to change up the color, want to change up the quantity and stuff like that. If you see my Instagram, you will see I have fun with the locks. But overall, I'm committed to locks. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. In my next video, I'm going to tell you why I decided to leave Etsy. I'm gonna give you the tea on Etsy because Etsy's not what it used to be. But thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed this content. And if you do, make sure you leave a comment, like, and subscribe. If you would like to see a video of my lock journey from start to now in pictures and descriptions, make sure to leave a comment about your hair journey below so I can know a little bit about you and what you're doing and if you have locks or thinking about locks. And I will definitely be posting that video soon if I get at least 10 comments. Thanks for watching. Take care. XOXO, Soph B.